Well, good afternoon, everyone. So you might think because I'm a yogini that I'm going to come up with something pretty esoteric here, but I'm a very practical yogi. I even have lots of notes today. So good afternoon. Thank you. When I was a child, probably around age 4, I began my awareness journey. That has ultimately led me to living a handcrafted life, which is the topic that I'm going to speak on today. I'm quite sure I was a born yogini, despite growing up in a non-yogic family. I just simply didn't have the words for it at the time. And though my parents thought this was a bit unusual and a bit woo, oh, which button do I push? Gotcha. The woo, my parents allowed me to explore the windows of opportunity. They didn't shut me down. They allowed me to explore, and I love that because we all use the term woo sometimes as, woo-woo, but I like to look at woo as windows of opportunity. So as little Cathy, I had yogic knowings. I would enter into yogic disciplines like doing yoga postures and entering into meditative states. For example, I knew there was value to the prolonged holding of a posture, challenging the body and the mind. So one of the ways I would do this, and I talked about this on my podcast with Warwick, is I would sit in full lotus pose for exactly 30 minutes. Now I'm 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and I used to time this by watching the Flintstones. So by the time I started kindergarten, I felt on a cellular level that living a life dictated by society just felt wrong. It felt abnormal. It felt like being a bird in a cage. And I thought, even as a young child, like, how would someone else know what's best for me? Like what days I should go to school, what days I could have off, what days I, quote, should, or what I should study. So I used to think, even as a kindergartner, first grade, how would anyone know this? Only I have this inner knowing, right, about how I'm going to live my life. It is not the same blueprint for everyone. Have any of you ever felt that society is trying to dictate how to live your life? Has anyone ever felt like that? Like you wanted to, oh, maybe a few of you. So that you want to march to your own drummer, but society sometimes tamps that down. So this understanding only got stronger and clearer as I grew up, and I knew early on that following the ABCs of life was not going to work for me. At around age 16, I got more formally introduced to the practice and the philosophy of yoga, and it felt like coming home in my heart. Then at about 18, I began my journey of self-employment and entrepreneurship. It suited my heartfelt interests at the time. It was where I was on my journey. And to me, it seems like a natural way to live is to follow our heart's desires and what speaks to us. So today, I honor young Cathy, and I amplify her voice. Today, we're going to delve into living a handcrafted life, one all of our younger selves, maybe the ones we've quieted along the way, would be proud of. My name is Cathy Woods. Like many of you here, I have a diverse background. I've been a ballet dancer, a model, an actress. I've owned a fashion show production company. I've been a primate handler, a horsewoman, yoga teacher, and now an author. I share this with you not to share my resume, but today I'm going to be talking about how all these things interconnected and how each experience played a very, very important role. Sometimes I look at my life and I'm so grateful for what has been created by deeply knowing myself. Being aware of where my intuition, my interests, my energy have led me and continue to lead me. The result of this is a rich life full of yoga, horses, travel, deep friendships, country living, and hard work. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to handcraft your life and your horsemanship. So what do you think a handcrafted life might look like? To me, it's a life of choosing pursuits and interests that bring you joy, that bring you congruity, that arise naturally. Interests that allow us to express our own deepest nature. Most of us, again, are not encouraged to do this by society, by schools, by families. But I hope to impart to you today that it is never too late. Before we get into handcrafting your life and your horsemanship, I want to talk to you a little bit about yoga, since my point of view comes from that place. You might be most familiar with the media-driven version of yoga, the practice of athletics, flexibility, even competition. But that is not true yoga. Yoga, this ancient practice of yoga, it's simply an awareness practice, much like life and horsemanship can be. And there are many more layers to it than just the physical aspect of yoga. Authentic yoga is a path to self-realization. It is a sacred science that dates back 5,000 years. It is a practice of purifying our bodies, our minds, our cells, our nerve channels, all of which support us in raising our consciousness and our awareness, helping us to live to our full potential as more skilled humans. When we become clear beyond the pollutants of fear, negativity, worry, doubt, judgment, comparison, all that stuff that comes up, then we are more able to clearly hear our inner voice, our little Cathy. Then we are better able to handcraft our lives and what we want our lives with equines to look like as well. Yoga puts us in direct touch with energy. In yoga, we call energy prana. It is believed that prana, life force energy that flows through each of us, flows through all of creation, the oceans, the planets, all humans, all living creatures, interconnecting everything and relating us all by prana. To handcraft our lives and our horsemanship, we must be energy aware. This means recognizing our life force energy and having the courage and the creativity to honor that energy, knowing it comes from truth, from divine essence. The yogic path has helped me to live a handcrafted life. I call yoga the original energy awareness practice. The word yoga means unity. To unite body, mind, and spirit. In essence, when we are doing any one thing at one time fully, we're integrated, we're congruent, we're aligned, including when we are with horses, we are actually doing a form of yoga. And remember, our horses certainly know if we are coming from a united place or not. I always say you can't lie to a horse or to a highly attuned human, as your energy introduces you before you speak. You absolutely have the ability to curate your life and your horsemanship in whatever way works for you now. Just because we have always done something one way doesn't mean we have to continue in that way. Inner wisdom tells us when it is time to pivot, when it is time to course correct. Example, in horsemanship, maybe you are a competitive eventer and that no longer suits you, so you decide now to pivot to casual trail riding. Or maybe you even decide to partner with horses in a way that doesn't even include riding. We can make adjustments in our life choices as well, from our lifestyle, relationship, careers, and hobbies. It's important to recognize and honor our energy and the energy of where you are now. For me with horses, it looks like discerning what my interactions look like on a given day. Like I might have planned a trail ride and I woke up that day and my energy just was not suitable for that. So I decided to stay behind and groom my horse or take Dan down to the lake. I do the same thing in business. I honor the energy about what events I say yes to, when to sign a contract, when to create, and when not to. And if the creative energy is just not there, or positive energy is just not there for me, then I just focus on other things, like more deeply on self-care, or I enjoy hobbies. For me, there's definitely joy in the journey. I allow my interests to flow organically, and I follow them like a magical river, and I honor those stepping stones along the way because each of them is important and necessary. So some examples of my stepping stones and following that magical river looked kind of like this. So when I was young, I had a dance background, I had an interest in yoga, and that ultimately led me to yoga teaching. It was a natural transition. There was no deliberate thought like, hey, I think I want to become a yoga teacher. It just transpired as I followed my interests. Another stepping stone for me was performing as a dancer, semi-professional ballet dancer, actress, model. That ended up steering me to fashion show production, and that all led me to feeling comfortable speaking in front of people. And then that transitioned to feeling comfortable leading my body-mind equine retreats and doing public events such as this. My love for travel creatively segued into curating travel retreats, merging my interests, merging my passions. That is what I call living a creative, spirit-driven, handcrafted life. I'm going to guess that Warwick's podcast creation, The Journey On, was a stepping stone. I bet at the time it transpired, there was not a thought like, hey, this is going to lead to a summit in the US and Australia. No, I don't think so. I think Warwick just followed his genuine interest of connecting with people, and look where it's led. This talk I'm doing right now, it's a stepping stone. My business mind said, go with an existing presentation. My inner voice challenged me to go with what's been in my heart and on my mind, and maybe the topic of my next book. So many people walk around in discontentment for one reason or another. They think living intuitively and creatively is out of reach. I was given this opportunity for this TikTok to share a new message, a process much more in line with living intuitively. This is how we live a handcrafted life. We listen to our inner voice. We follow those inklings. We are courageous and we are proactive. When we merge our interests into a lifestyle through creative workarounds, it can be extremely fulfilling and it provides a deep level of soul contentment. So here's some tips. Again, the path is not the same for everybody, but I hope these tips will help. First, we have to recognize and honor your inner wisdom. You have to recognize and honor your inner wisdom and that you know what is best for you regardless of what others might think. You embody the wisdom and the knowledge. So get still, get quiet, dial in, and listen to your inner voice. Now remember, inner voice speaks to us in a variety of ways. It can be a thought, a word, a vision. It could be a feeling. It could be something someone says, something you pick up and read. When we are always in motion and always in distraction, it can be very hard to clearly hear that inner voice. So setting aside deliberate, still, quiet time can be very, very supportive to keenly listening inward. Examine and know your interests and nurture them in some way, whether they make sense or not. A Native American teacher taught me that in order to live a life of meaning and purpose, it's wise to always have 3 interests or 3 pursuits. So it's important for you to contemplate what those are for you. And then once we know our interests, we then make a plan and we get proactive to explore those interests, even if it's just dipping a toe into the waters. Maybe it's doing some research, taking a class, or maybe coming to this summit. Remember that energy follows attention. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Point your energetic arrow in the direction you want to go with horses and in your life. Then discern and consider what energy are you bringing to your horsemanship. Moreover, what energy are you bringing to your life? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. In yoga, we talk about 3 qualities of consciousness, also known as the 3 gunas. Centered, grounded, nervous, scattered, sleepy, tired. And it's believed that we're always operating from one of these states. And that changes each day. Heck, it changes throughout the day based on a lot of factors. What have you eaten? How much rest did you get? What else is going on in your life? Through yoga and through mindfulness practices, we can learn tools to help adjust, balance, and manage our energy. Or sometimes we simply accept the energy that is there and we adjust our external activities accordingly. Next, we follow the trail. I always say the trail is my teacher, physically and metaphorically. In my meditations, I ask Creator and Universe to illuminate my path, my trail, before me. Again, this is about following those stepping stones that appear. Be courageous, take that first step onto that illuminated path, and have interest and curiosity about where it might lead, like me and Dan here in the Smoky Mountains. The path is not always linear. That's important to remember. It changes as you change and grow, and it's okay to make pivots along the way. Sometimes we get roadblocked and we have to look for creative workarounds. Just keep listening to those nudges of your soul. Pay attention and the creative workarounds appear. And remember, they don't always look like you think they're going to. Then relax and allow. Trust the process. Let go of your attachment to how you think things should be. You have planted your seed in the fertile ground of pure potentiality. Now trust the process, then you trust Spirit's timetable, and you affirm that what is in your best and highest good for you and for all involved will organically transpire. Here's a little homework if you would like to snap a photo of that, and I'm sure you'll have access to this, to help you get started living a handcrafted life. So before we conclude, I would like to lead you all in a short experience, if you're interested. If so, if you'd like to participate, put your feet squarely on the floor, gently straighten your spine, close your eyes, and instantly feel the place where your eyelids meet. Feel where your body contacts the seat. Feel where your feet and hands are resting. Feel the space around you. Feel the energy in this space. Feel the energy of others in this space. Take a deep breath and give yourself permission to come down from thinking and doing. Come down from thinking and doing and drop into just being and just breathing. Deepen the breath slightly and allow your mind to rest on the breath. When it wanders, not if it wanders, when it wanders, gently bring the mind back to the breath. Take a moment to drop into the who of who you are, the essence, the energy, the spirit of who you are, beyond your name, your titles, your status. Authentic self is beyond the self-image. Now, with eyes closed, inhale your arms up overhead. Feel the muscles that are working to do this. All the way up. Eyes are closed. Touch your hands together in prayer position. Feel that touch. As you exhale, bring the hands down in front of your chest, heart center, feeling collected and integrated. One more time. Inhale the arms up. Feel the air as your hand moves through the air. Touch your palms together, feel the warmth, feel the energy, and then exhale your hands to the heart center, staying integrated and collected. Collection and groundwork for the human. Keep the eyes closed. You have just experienced a moment of yoga, of integration. Eyes closed, rest your hands on your lap and stay inward. Envision one aspect of your life that you would like to handcraft. Then ask yourself, what am I creating by the way I'm currently living? What do I want to create in this aspect of my life? And then take a few seconds to vividly picture what you'd like to see. And feel and see yourself living in this way. Bring in all of the sights, the sounds, the smells, the feels. Intuitively ponder a step that you can take in the direction of creating your vision. Just by doing this short exercise, you have begun to point your energetic arrow in that direction. And know that right now the universe is bending and shaping to support you in your vision. And so it is. And so it is. As you feel ready, slowly allow the eyes to open. And I hope that gave you a little sampling of maybe where to start on listening inward, dialing in, inner voice, intuition, inner knowing, handcrafting your life. In closing, remember, it's your life. Live it fully, live it joyfully, do what speaks to you in your life and in your horsemanship. Live a handcrafted, soul-content, spirit-driven life. It is the way you were meant to live, and only you can design that. Follow your inner wisdom, your inner blueprint. It knows. Take that first empowering step to curate your journey, and the way appears. Then point your energetic arrow in the direction you want to go. Then follow the trail, trust the process to a more enriched, meaningful, and fulfilling life. And I leave you with a quote by Rumi: as you start to walk on the way appears. So I want to thank the Schillers for their big supportive hearts for creating this container to hold all this magic. It is amazing, and I am humble and grateful to be part of it. And I thank you all for listening. In closing, I like to say, Loka Somasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with love and light and peace and joy. Hari Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. And Namaste means I honor your inner light. Namaste. Jai.
I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
So I have a quick question for you, Cathy, but I also have something I just took a little note. So during lunch, there's a lovely young lady here. She's only 17 years old. I swear she's in the crowd here, but she can think about that. There's a 17-year-old young lady here taking this stuff in. Think about the future of the world. I was talking to her at lunchtime, and she said, "How did you end up here? Like, how'd you end up doing this? Where did this all come from?" And I told her something that you just said. You said it more eloquently, but you said, trust the process and trust the Spirit's timetable.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I think what we think should be isn't always in our best
and
interest.
that was my advice to her, was just and follow your arrow. But I had a question for you. Earlier on, you said that you have a talk that you normally do and you didn't do it this time. What was the decision process behind that? Was it an intuition thing? Was it a...
Yes, it was exactly what I'm talking about. It was listening to my inner voice. This is a topic that I have somewhat interwoven in my workshops on abundance and co-creating. And I just felt like it was time to launch this new topic. It's a book I'd like to write about living a handcrafted life. And then I thought, like, what better supportive place to launch this? And thank you. And truly, you and Robin were such an inspiration on the Zoom meetings. You know, I had a talk that I normally do, or several that I normally do, and have been doing for years, and it would have been much easier for me to go with that rather than come up with putting this topic into words. But you guys kept saying in our meetings to, you know, go with what's speaking to you, and I had a moment that I was like, you know, I'm going to go off of what I know and go with living a handcrafted life and doing what intuitively felt aligned. So thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah, and thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.